Neuvillette, have you ever heard about site reliability engineers or SREs? They're like the unsung heroes, ensuring everything runs just the way it's supposed to, behind the scenes.
SREs, you say? Fascinating. Tell me more about their role. What exactly does it entail?
SREs are responsible for the reliability of systems. Imagine if your judicial scripts malfunction during a crucial trial. They adapt software testing methods to predict and measure how reliable a system was and how it will be in the future.
Predicting future reliability sounds complex. How do they achieve that?
Well, it starts with a deep dive into understanding past system behaviors through data. Think of it like studying history to predict future events. They analyze all the quirks and hiccups that occurred to gauge what might happen.
Insightful. But what about the unpredictability of changes, like software updates or server modification?
Great question. For reliable predictions, they rely on something called testing equivalence. Essentially, they demonstrate that parts of the system are equivalent before and after changes. When changes are documented and tested thoroughly, it reduces uncertainty.
Testing equivalence, you say? So it's like ensuring that my courtroom remains orderly despite procedural updates.
Exactly like that. By conducting sufficient testing, they ensure everything remains efficient, even with changes. They maintain stability by adapting classical testing methods to fit their needs. It's like ensuring the house doesn't fall after rearranging the furniture.
What happens if the system isn't tested adequately then? Are there risks involved?
Without enough testing, predicting future reliability becomes tricky. If my team's reliability dips below an acceptable level, it could mean halting changes until we have more data. It's a balance of timely adaptations and cautious assurance.
A careful tightrope walk indeed. This brings me to ponder about the system changes themselves. How does the constancy factor in their reliability investigations?
If their systems don't change at all, it can reliably perform as it has in the past. But if everything evolves, they need to track everything precisely, like cataloging every legal precedent accurately.
System changes mirror legal amendments, it seems. Each minor tweak impacts the whole.
Exactly. They prepare for uncertainties like an unannounced storm, ensuring the umbrella is tested against every gust and drizzle projected.
And in terms of coverage, how do they decide how much is enough for these tests?
Oh, this part's interesting. As more of the codebase gets tested, confidence grows. It's like reviewing more case files to grasp the judicial landscape better.
So the broader the testing, the sharper the insight into potential issues.
Precisely. If too many changes happen rapidly, reliability might dip. But with a rich dataset from extensive tests, they mitigate such risks.
I see. Such foresight only comes from elaborate understanding and preparation. What about unforeseen hiccups even detailed tests miss?
That's the crux, isn't it? Even with all the testing, surprises happen. That's why they balance both past data and real-time monitoring to quickly address surprises.
Adaptable and insightful. So the SREs sound like meticulous planners, always poised for contingencies.
You've got it. They build a culture around reliability, nurturing an ecosystem of continuous testing. Just like how you ensure smooth justice delivery through constant vigilance and adaptation.
A thoughtful perspective. How do they adapt test models when systems expand and diversify?
When systems grow, they shape the tests to handle greater scale while still ensuring accuracy. Like evolving laws that address modern sensibilities while retaining core values.
Ah, a blend of tradition and adaptation. Fascinating how these fundamental values can traverse fields so smoothly.
Exactly. Reliability in technology, much like in law, thrives on a strong grasp of historical context and an eye on future transformations. Let's delve deeper into how SREs shape this testing landscape, shall we?
By all means, Hu Tao. This is illuminating. The frameworks and strategies employed are quite intriguing. Hu Tao, earlier you mentioned how SREs use meticulous testing strategies. I'm curious about the types of tests they employ. How do they ensure all bases are covered?
Ah, you're diving into the heart of it. There are several types of software tests, each serving a distinct purpose in our reliability quest. Consider them like layers in a well-structured cake.
Layers, you say? Tell me more. What forms these layers?
The most basic layer is unit testing. These are the smallest tests, checking individual units like functions or classes to ensure they work independently. They're quick and efficient, much like a small, reliable pulley in a large clock.
Quite foundational, it seems. And beyond these basic units, how do they ensure integration within more complex systems?
Beyond unit tests, we ascend to integration testing. Here, multiple components are combined and tested as a group, ensuring they function harmoniously. Imagine performing a symphony. Each section must play in concert with the others.
A symphony of software, I see. Are there tests that oversee the entire system in operation?
Absolutely, those are the system tests. They scrutinize the complete end-to-end functionality of a system. System tests come in flavors like smoke, performance, and regression tests.
Smoke tests, you say? I'm intrigued by the term. What function do they serve?
Smoke tests are like a quick sniff to see if everything's in order. They check basic yet critical functionality, much like ensuring a courtroom's doors open before a trial begins.
And performance tests. They must ensure our virtual symphony does not falter under strain, correct?
Exactly. Performance tests verify a system's robustness across its life cycle, ensuring it doesn't slow down unexpectedly. We wouldn't want it requiring more resources without due notice, like a trial suddenly demanding twice the number of judges.
Such careful observation. And regression tests, what role do they play?
Regression tests ensure previously fixed bugs don't sneak back in, akin to guarding against past miscarriages of justice recurring in court proceedings.
Each test type is distinct yet vital. How do they determine adequate coverage? It seems a delicate balance.
Spot on. Coverage depends on what's required for reliability. More coverage reduces uncertainty, like reviewing more evidence in a case to eliminate doubt.
But testing isn't without cost, I presume. Is there not a balance between cost and coverage?
Indeed, Neuvillette. Every test consumes time and resources. Unit tests might be like quick chats in chambers, but full system tests are extensive trials, demanding far more.
So they balance the cost of conducting these tests against the potential reliability they provide.
Precisely. It's about picking the battles that give the most assurance without draining resources. Like choosing which case laws to prioritize in interpreting new legislation.
And how do SREs interpret these test results to ensure reliability?
Interpretation also has its nuances. They consider the context, just as you interpret testimonies, in light of a case's broader narrative. Test results must reflect actual usage conditions as closely as possible.
Does this mean SREs must sometimes make compromises with testing scope to optimize efficiency?
Yes, indeed. Strategic choices abound. They focus where tests yield the greatest reliability gains, akin to choosing precedents with the most jurisprudential weight.
That sounds like a balancing act that demands both foresight and precision.
You've hit the nail on the head. Understanding the interplay between cost, coverage, and reliability is essential. It's like mastering the delicate dance of maintaining court decorum while ensuring justice.
I surmise, then, that the SRE's craft is as much about judicious evaluation as it is about technical precision.
Exactly. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are production tests, real-world conditions, but let's save that for next time, shall we?
A wise choice, Hu Tao. I'm eager to delve into how this theory meets practice in live environments.
Absolutely. It's a thrilling adventure watching it all unfold. Testing, like life, keeps you on your toes, ready to catch the unexpected. Stay curious.
Enlightening as always, Hu Tao. I've learned much and look forward to our ongoing discourse. Hu Tao, earlier you enlightened me on the nature of rigorous testing. Now I'm curious about how these tests play out in real-world environments. How do SREs manage this?
You're touching on the exciting phase of production tests. They're all about testing in live environments without impacting users. It's like practicing a courtroom drama without the audience knowing.
Fascinating. But how do they ensure such tests don't disrupt users? Must be quite a trick to balance.
It truly is a delicate dance. Take Canary Tests, for instance. They involve rolling out changes to a subset of servers first. If all goes well, they gradually extend the rollout. Think of it like trialing a new legal procedure in a few cases before full adoption.
Interesting analogy. The Canary Test sounds almost experimental. What happens if something goes wrong during this period?
Great question. Should the Canary servers show issues, they revert back to the last stable state, swiftly pulling back to avoid a domino effect. It's like a courtroom recess taken to resolve any disruptions.
And what of stress tests that you mentioned? They sound more aggressive.
Exactly. Stress tests push a system to its limits to gauge how much load it can bear, like challenging a seasoned lawyer with a tough case to see if they crack under pressure.
Do these stress tests seek to break the system? What do they reveal that's so valuable?
They reveal critical weaknesses, how the system behaves when it's stretched thin. Just as pushing a courtroom argument helps you see the unseen flaws, stress tests expose future bottlenecks.
And the challenges of non-hermetic behavior in these live environments. What are those about?
Non-hermetic environments are the unpredictable ones, filled with live traffic. They aren't isolated. Like a courtroom filled with surprise witnesses, they keep everyone on their toes.
Surprise witnesses, I see. And these environments must mirror real-world use to be effective, yes?
Precisely. Mimicking real scenarios is key. Otherwise, tests might as well be theater. They seek to probe deep, beneath the surface, much like a cross-examination in court.
And how do configuration tests fit into this puzzle of live testing?
Configuration tests check that the system setup matches what's expected. They catch discrepancies before the real-world drama unfolds. Ensure the stage is set properly before the play begins.
Clever approach. It reminds me of reviewing each case document meticulously for coherence. What happens when adjustments are needed in live systems?
Adjustments are careful and gradual, kind of like amending legal codes. By rolling out changes progressively, they measure impact step by step. Always ready to step back if things tumble.
I gather that these methods prioritize minimal user disruption. It's almost like walking a tightrope over a crowd, isn't it?
Exactly. Balancing on that tightrope ensures a seamless experience for users, just as maintaining decorum in court keeps trials clear and dignified.
It's remarkable how mirrored these approaches are to legal proceedings. Are there more nuances to these strategies you'd like to share?
Certainly. Each test provides a layer of assurance, like different security levels in courtrooms, ensuring users only experience smooth functioning systems.
So what I understand is that diverse testing strategies, while complex, collectively safeguard the entire system's reliability.
You've got it. These strategies build the framework of a system's reliability, just like statutes and case law uphold order in the legal world.
Intriguing. How do SREs gauge the outcomes of their tests in these dynamic environments?
They rely heavily on metrics and monitoring, like legal annotations, to summarize outcomes and adapt strategies. They're always ready to pivot their approach.
A truly dynamic endeavor. It appears that constant vigilance is key to these testing procedures.
Absolutely. Much like the way we continuously oversee court case precedents to ensure fairness and continuity in judgments. Always learning, always adapting.
You've painted a vivid picture, Hu Tao. These intricacies in testing seem almost philosophical, demanding a balance of art and science.
Correct. Crafting reliable systems is both an art, sculpted by experience, and a science informed by data, much like the pursuit of justice.
I'm eager to see how these meticulous efforts culminate in a smoothly running system. What happens when unexpected results arise during these tests?
Unexpected results prompt an immediate review. Just as you'd consult overlooked legal formats, SREs revisit logs and metrics to diagnose with precision.
A methodical approach indeed. How vital then is collaboration amongst SREs in such scenarios?
Collaboration is paramount. Much like a team of barristers collaborating for a case, everyone pools expertise to solve the puzzle swiftly.
And in doing so, they enhance the community's collective knowledge and foresight, I presume.
Exactly, Neuvillette. Every resolution sharpens their approach, just as each court ruling shapes the future of the law.
An exquisite blend of discipline and innovation, Hu Tao. I'm left awed by the depth of their strategic foresight.
And there's ever more to explore. Each discovery paves way for more intricate testing adventures. Shall we probe the finer details next?
Indeed, Hu Tao. Each detail seems to unlock a further realm of understanding, akin to uncovering layers within legal doctrine. Hu Tao, you've shared so much about the different testing methods employed by SREs. How do they establish a robust testing environment to ensure its longevity and effectiveness?
Neuvillette. Building a solid testing culture and infrastructure is crucial. To start, they set clear priorities for what needs testing. It's about knowing which pieces of the puzzle hold the system together.
Prioritizing in such diverse technical landscapes sounds challenging. How do they decide what to focus on first?
Good question. They stack rank components by importance, focusing on mission-critical areas, say, like the pivotal roles in a courtroom.
Interesting parallel. So once priorities are set, what systems do SREs put in place to support continuous testing?
Continuous integration is key. They use tools like version control systems to track changes, combined with automated testing frameworks. It's comparable to how a court maintains records for case continuity.
And this continuous integration, how does it streamline their processes?
Imagine receiving instant feedback the moment something is amiss, just like an alert in your court proceedings. Continuous integration systems alert engineers right away, maintaining a flow of swift reaction and correction.
Swift reactions are vital in maintaining order, I agree. Do they document these processes to aid in future cases or scenarios?
Indeed, automation and documentation go hand in hand. Documenting test cases helps refine strategies and guides new engineers, much like how legal documentation informs future juridical decisions.
How do they improve and evolve their testing infrastructure over time?
By learning from what unfolds, they refine tools, automate more processes, and optimize based on past experiences. It's like evolving case law through precedent and historical analysis.
Constant improvement seems crucial. How does this relate to disaster recovery in tech?
SREs treat disaster recovery with utmost care. They ensure systems are resilient and have robust recovery mechanisms in place, similar to contingency plans in your court for unforeseen events.
Robust contingency plans are invaluable indeed. How are SRE tools tailored for better reliability?
They're often scoped broadly, but meticulously checked for faults. Testing in layers helps catch issues early, growing reliability, much like meticulous legal research supports strong verdicts.
Is there a strategic partnership between automation and human oversight in these systems?
Absolutely. Automation handles the routine and the repetitive, while engineers provide oversight and insight for nuanced cases, like jurors deliberating over evidence in complex trials.
I see. Automation supplements human capability, enhancing efficiency without edging out necessary expertise.
Precisely, it's about balance, much like your dual role as mediator and decision-maker in court.
How do engineers ensure their tools and tests remain effective as systems grow more complex?
By expanding test coverage and adapting their infrastructure. It's akin to broadening legal examinations as societies evolve, ensuring all areas of law are well represented.
Are there specific techniques they employ to handle scale?
Oh, definitely. They leverage modular tests and scalable tools, just like modular statutes can regulate complex societies without becoming cumbersome.
Modularity then becomes a vehicle for scale without losing focus on detail.
Exactly. By creating a foundation where each part is tested, they build resilient, expansive systems.
With this infrastructure, they can react quickly to anomalies, true?
Yes, swift action is a hallmark. Immediate responses to anomalies prevent minor issues from spiraling, very much like quick rulings maintain courtroom order.
Is there a cultural philosophy among SREs that fosters such resilience?
It's a mindset rooted in proactive learning and prevention. They thrive on the challenge of preempting failures just as you keep an eye on legal developments to guard justice.
Truly fascinating. As SREs create this culture, how do new initiatives fit into their established systems?
They build iteratively, testing ideas in small scales first, better than attempting grand interventions that might disrupt established order without prior evidence.
Much like testing pilot programs in legislation before wide implementation, ensure safety before extensive rollout.
Exactly, Neuvillette. Controlled expansions allow reliable gradual adoption and refinement.
The synergy between established practices and innovative aspirations appears well-tuned.
Indeed it is, mirroring your careful balance between legal tradition and reform.
And so the art of maintaining reliable systems, much like upholding justice, rests on the collective effort of vigilant minds.
A beautiful analogy. With each test, SREs ensure they're ready for whatever complexities the digital world unleashes, much like keeping liberty and justice within sight, no matter the storm.